Have you ever felt excluded from places where you were once welcomed? Have you noticed people pulling away, doors closing, and suddenly everything around you falling silent? It may seem strange, even unfair. But what if it isn't by chance? What if God is separating you for something greater? Many don't understand this time of withdrawal. You try to explain what you feel, but no one seems to understand. It seems that what once made sense now weighs heavy. The company of certain people no longer nourishes you. The routine that once brought you joy now only tires you. This has a name, divine separation, and it has a purpose. Being chosen by God isn't about status, it's about mission. And before He puts you in high places, He needs to shape you in silence. It's in this process that a lot is broken, but it's also where you discover who you really are. Here, God cleans, heals, teaches, and strengthens. The isolation is the room where He prepares you. This content was made especially for you, who feels you are being separated, not to judge you or teach you ready-made formulas, but to walk with you. Here we will understand, step by step, why God removes His chosen from everything, and what He is building in this process. I am George, and I am here to share this journey with you. If this topic speaks to your heart, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. This helps spread this message and reach more people who, like you, are living this quiet calling. Let's go together. Everything begins in a silent way. You don't notice it immediately. You only feel that things are changing. People who were always nearby start to drift away for no clear reason. Places that once did you good no longer bring peace. Conversations that once flowed now seem forced. It's as if you no longer fit in. Instead of seeking explanations, you try to adapt. You make an effort to keep the same connections, insist on activities that once gave you pleasure, but now do not arouse interest. And this generates anguish. The sense of losing control over your own life settles in, bringing doubts and insecurity. This beginning of separation does not come with a warning. There is no exact moment when everything collapses at once. It is a slow transition, sometimes imperceptible, that deconstructs life as you knew it. Gradually, you are led to a place where silence speaks louder than words. Perhaps you think you are becoming indifferent, cold, or even ungrateful. But in truth, your spirit is being realigned. Something is happening beyond what you can see. You feel a void, but this void is not absence. It is space. Space for the new that is to come. The discomfort you feel is God moving the structure. This discomfort is necessary, because if everything were comfortable, you would continue exactly where you are. God knows that, for you to grow, it is necessary to leave the zone where everything is predictable. So He begins to move the foundations. And that, of course, is scary. But this is the sign that you are being separated. The people around you may not understand. Some may say that you have changed, that you are strange, distant. Others may drift away without explanations, simply because they no longer feel the same connection. And you begin to question yourself. Is it me who is the problem? But do not blame yourself. It is a process that many chosen ones go through. God usually withdraws first to reveal later. Before giving you a new environment, He needs to empty you of the old one. Isolation does not come as punishment, but as the beginning of something important. The one who will be sent first needs to be separated. And this separation, even if solitary, has a deep purpose: to prepare you. It will not always be easy to accept this. Your heart may cling to what is left behind. It is natural. But gradually, you will understand that what God is taking away from close is what will not accompany you in the next phase. He knows what you do not yet know. He sees where you do not yet see. It is at this moment that faith must speak louder than feeling. Trust that even without understanding, you are being guided. Isolation may seem confusing, but it is ordered. You are not being thrown to chance. You are being directed to a place where only God can take you. Each withdrawal carries a message. Each unexpected change has a purpose. What looks like rejection may be protection. What looks like loss may be realignment. And what looks like silence may be the beginning of the deepest conversation you have ever had with God. It is only the beginning. You are entering a different time. A time in which what sustained you before no longer serves. And this can hurt, but it can also set you free. When God begins to change everything around you, it is because He wants to change everything inside. This is the call of the chosen. Separation for transformation. The deepest change that the chosen one faces does not happen outside, but inside. While everything around seems to stay the same, something begins to move in the heart. It is a kind of restlessness that cannot be easily explained. You feel that you are different, but you cannot say exactly what changed. You only know that you are no longer the same. What used to excite you now seems empty. You begin to notice that certain conversations have lost their meaning. Jokes that used to make you laugh now bother you. Certain environments, once familiar, today cause discomfort. Everything is still in the same place, but you do not feel part of it anymore. Your soul is changing direction. This may confuse you at first. You try to force yourself to return to normal, as if it were a temporary phase. But inside, a new thirst begins to rise. A hunger for purpose, a desire to go beyond the surface. You begin to seek answers that are not found in distractions, but in silence. This transformation is the work of God. He is rearranging your values, clearing your vision, and awakening something greater in you. Gradually, you begin to value different things. Peace becomes more valuable than others' opinions. Truth matters more than acceptance. What is eternal begins to weigh more than what is fleeting. And that is where distancing begins. Not because you think you are better, but because now you see differently. It is as if a veil had been lifted from your eyes. What used to hold you no longer has power. What used to define you no longer fits your new identity. The people around you may not understand this change. Some will say you look strange. Others may even think you are cold or distant. But what is happening is that your essence is being touched by something greater. And when the spirit is transformed, there is no way to keep living as before. This internal separation is silent, yet deep. You continue to interact with people, but you notice the connection has changed. Certain topics no longer interest you. Some distractions no longer attract you. Superficiality becomes intolerable. You desire depth, truth, something real. And this thirst can only be quenched by God. During this process, it is common to feel alone. After all, not everyone will accompany your change. And that can hurt, but it is part of it. Spiritual maturity requires courage to continue even when no one else understands. And God uses this time to teach you to depend only on Him, without seeking validation from others. You are not becoming strange. You are being refined. Your spiritual sensitivity is increasing. What used to go unnoticed now discomforts you. What once seemed normal now sounds wrong. This is a sign of growth. It is a sign that God is preparing you for something greater than the routine you lived. Do not blame yourself for changing. Do not force yourself to return to what no longer fits you. What God is doing in you is sacred. It is an inside-out reconstruction, and those who do not understand now will one day see the fruit of this change. Stay firm. This separation is the path to something new. God is removing the layers that hid who you really are. He is revealing your identity. He is cleansing your desires, healing old wounds, and placing a new direction in your heart. And even if you do not understand everything yet, trust. You are being formed for a purpose that requires this transformation. One of the most difficult experiences in the separation process is losing people. Sometimes important relationships end for no apparent reason. The friendship that seemed solid simply cools down. Invitations diminish, messages stop arriving, and you wonder what you did wrong. But often, it's not about fault. It's about direction. God is repositioning you. Not everyone is prepared to walk with those who were separated. God knows the heart of every person around you. He knows who will delay you, mislead you, distract you. That's why He removes. And when God removes, it can hurt, but it's always for your good. Distances are answers you didn't ask for. Some opportunities also disappear out of nowhere. A job that seemed ideal simply doesn't work out. A project that was going well starts to stall. Everything begins to close in. This generates frustration and confusion. But God does not work with what merely seems good. He works with what is aligned with His plan. You may even feel that you are losing. But in truth, you are being protected. God sees what you still cannot see. He looks ahead. What seems like a perfect opportunity today can turn into a burden tomorrow. That's why He closes doors before you enter places that aren't for you. It isn't rejection, it's deliverance. God doesn't want you trapped in cycles that prevent you from growing. And even if you insist, He will show you, with love and firmness, that it's time to move on. Separation is painful because it touches emotional bonds. But it's necessary for the evolution of your purpose. Often, distancing does not happen with conflicts. It's all subtle. Conversations lose their force. Interest fades. And suddenly, that bond that was so strong falls apart. This happens because paths must part for each to follow their own destiny. And you, who were chosen, have a specific journey. Some people were only in your life for a time, not for a mission. And when their time ends, God allows them to leave. Trying to hold on to what no longer has a connection only prolongs the pain. Learning to let go is part of the maturation process. Separation also teaches trust. Trust not in the other, but in God. You learn to surrender, to let go, to not cling to what no longer contributes. That letting go is hard, but liberating. The chosen one must walk with lightness. And God knows exactly what must go so that you can carry what is to come. Even when you don't understand, God's activity is perfect. He is clearing the ground, removing what no longer serves, making space for new connections, new opportunities, new environments. When God withdraws something or someone, it's because He is about to draw you nearer to something better. Trust the process. In the end, you look back and understand. What looked like loss was deliverance. What seemed like abandonment was protection. God was guarding you, even when you didn't notice. Because who He chooses, He also tends. And part of that care is removing what doesn't fit your purpose. Loneliness has a power that few recognize. It seems like a dark, cold, difficult place. But in truth, it is where the greatest transformations are born. When everything around you silences, that is where you begin to hear clearly. What once seemed empty becomes a fertile field for revelations. Silence becomes a language between you and God. The solitary moments reveal what was hidden. It's not just the world stepping away from you. You are drawing closer to yourself. The hustle and bustle of life hides things that only appear when the noise ends. Wounds, fears, beliefs, everything comes to the surface. God allows this to heal, treat, and transform from the inside out. prayer becomes deeper. It's no longer the quick routine prayer. It's a true conversation. You begin to pray like you're venting, like you need to. And in this conversation, you find answers, direction, and peace. God becomes more real, closer, and you understand that you were never truly alone. In solitude, you learn to sustain yourself. There are no more praise, advice, or human support. Only you and God. This teaches true dependence. Your faith stops being an idea and becomes a foundation. You pray not to fulfill a ritual, but because you need to. You read the Word not out of obligation, but because it sustains your days. God uses isolation to strengthen your spirit. While everyone thinks you're stagnant, you are being built from within. It's like a root growing underground. No one sees it, but it's there, anchoring the foundation. And one day, this inner growth becomes visible in the form of fruits. It's in this place of silence that you discover who you really are. Without external voices, without comparison, without pressure. Just you, God, and the truth. You begin to recognize gifts, feel clarity about decisions, see paths. The time alone becomes sacred time. It's the secret where God shapes his own. Loneliness also cleanses the heart. It removes distractions, misguided motivations, emotional vices. What bound you to others is gradually loosened, and you learn to be complete in God. This process generates strength, security, and identity. You stop seeking in others what only the Father can give you. Even if it hurts, you begin to notice that silence has flavor. It's a silence full of meaning. It reveals, it heals, it directs. Little by little, what seemed like punishment becomes a blessing. What seemed like absence becomes presence. God was there the whole time, waiting for you to be still so he could speak. The world may not understand your season. They may think you disappeared, drifted away, or gave up. But what no one sees is that you are being strengthened. In the hidden, God is preparing someone with strong roots, solid faith, and clear identity. The chosen one is formed this way, in private, away from the limelight. And when the right time comes, you will leave that place stronger, lighter, and more full of purpose. It was not a wasted time. It was a time of growth. Silence taught you what hustle could never teach. Now you know. Loneliness is often the place where God does his greatest works. When God calls someone to live something different, that person can no longer live like everyone else. There is something in the spirit of the chosen one that asks for more. He feels that there is a greater purpose for his life. And for that purpose to be fulfilled, God needs to separate, cleanse, and prepare with care. The calling requires a free heart. It is not a separation born of pride or vanity. It is a refining process. God removes distractions, silences external voices, and distances influences that do not match the destiny. Like a coach pushing the athlete to the limit in training before competition, God works in secret, shaping, strengthening, aligning. The chosen one must endure the silence before being sent. While others seem to be progressing, you feel that you are standing still. But you are not. God is working inside you. He is cleansing motivations, healing old wounds, shaping character. And that takes time. Preparation is invisible to the eye, but essential. You have not been forgotten. You are being equipped to carry something great. Yet following this calling also means leaving things behind. Sometimes God asks you to release something you love, a relationship, a habit, a routine, a dream. That hurts, but the new does not enter where the old still occupies space. God never asks for harm. He asks to make space. He removes what binds to give what sets free. The problem is that many times we try to hold on to what God has already asked us to release. We want to keep ties with the past, insist on what is already over, remain where it no longer makes sense. And that blocks the process. You cannot walk with one foot in the new and one in the old. Breaking through is necessary, even when it hurts. That break may seem radical, but it is love. God is pruning, as one does with a tree so it bears more fruit. He cuts away the excess, removes the unnecessary, cleans what slows down. Each cut is a realignment with the purpose. It is a gesture of care. He knows how far you can grow if you are free. In the middle of this process, you may feel longing for what you left behind. You may cry for connections that ended, for phases that are gone. And that is okay. Feeling is part of it. But move forward with a heavy heart, because what God has ahead is greater, lighter, truer. The new always requires letting go of the old. And when you are ready, you will realize that everything that was taken away was part of the plan, that no rupture was in vain. God does not waste pain. He transforms. He uses every separation to push you in the right direction. The separated heart is the soil where the calling blossoms, and you are on that path. Many people suffer more than necessary because they insist on fighting against something that, in truth, is a care from God. When He begins to separate you from certain people, places, or situations, the best thing you can do is cooperate. It's natural to be afraid of the new, but resisting the process only prolongs the pain. God sends signs. They don't appear in capital letters, but they are felt in the heart. A sense of discomfort arises in environments that were once common. Conversations seem empty. Partnerships that were once strong begin to wear down. Relationships you forced to keep now feel heavy. These signs show that God is calling you to a new time. The more you try to go back to normal, the more tired you feel. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the cycle is ending. Insisting on maintaining what God is already ending will only leave you frustrated. The secret is to notice the signs and choose to cooperate. Cooperating is obeying, even without understanding everything. This does not mean acting with coldness or indifference, but rather opening your heart to God's direction. If a friendship drifted away for no clear reason, don't chase after it impulsively. Pray, seek discernment. If a door closed, don't try to force it open. Reflect. Often what seems like an end is just a redirect. Cooperating also means seeking God more in these moments. Do not wait for things to get better to seek His presence. The place of doubt, pain, and loneliness is the ideal moment to pray more, listen more, be still more. It is in this place of intimacy that peace arrives. It is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. The separation is not only external distancing, it is also an internal cleansing. God shows what needs to come out from inside you: pride, fear, emotional dependence, need for approval. And this only happens when you surrender. Surrender opens space for healing, for growth, and for new paths. The more you embrace the process, the lighter it becomes. You stop fighting with what no longer belongs to your story. Learn to let go with faith, to trust with maturity, to walk even without a map. This lightness does not come from the absence of challenges, but from the certainty that God is guiding everything. Resisting pruning is like trying to stop a tree from growing. The cut hurts, but it yields fruit. Separation is God's care to remove what hinders your flowering. When He is still pruning, it means He is still investing in you. That is a sign of love, not rejection. In due time, everything will make sense. What today seems like loss will tomorrow be testimony. What seems confusing will fit together. And you will realize that cooperating was the best choice, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. God knows what He is doing, and He is doing it in love. Separation is not the end, it is preparation for a greater mission. Much in the life of the chosen one seems to make no sense at the moment it happens. Losses, withdrawals, ruptures. All of this hurts, but over time, you begin to realize that nothing was in vain. What seemed like the end was actually the beginning of something much bigger. Separation is part of the plan. God never separates someone without a purpose behind it. He does not pull away to punish, but to care, protect, and align. The pain-causing silence is the same one that prepares. The isolation that frightens is the same that strengthens. He takes you away from the noise, not to forget you, but to work with you privately. Those whom he calls to greater missions need to be prepared differently. And this preparation begins with separation. The world may even think you are left aside, but heaven knows you are being refined. God works in secret before showing you to the world. You were separated, not because you are lesser, but because God sees in you a potential you do not yet know. He is building something solid inside you, something that will sustain all that he will still do through your life. And at the right time, everything will make sense. Stay firm, even when you don't feel like it. Trust, even when you don't understand. What God is doing in you today will impact lives tomorrow. The process is hard, but the purpose is glorious. You are not alone. You are being led. Your story does not end in separation. It begins there. If this content spoke to you, leave a comment below. Write what touched your heart the most, or share how your separation process has been going. Your experience can strengthen someone. Let's grow together on this journey. You are chosen, and God is still writing your story.